Welcome to Unlocking Success, the House podcast, where you and I will listen to insightful agent stories and tips and tricks to reach success in real estate. I'm James Perry, Managing Director here at House. From Ireland to Dubai, today's guest went on an interesting professional journey before becoming a top-performing leasing agent. He's powerful indeed. Mr. John Power, welcome.
What an intro, huh?
That is a big intro.
Play with words.
It better be good conversation now. How are you? How's your week been?
I'm great. All good, yeah. Week was busy. Very busy the last couple of weeks now.
Nice.
Just back from my holidays, so catching up on a few things and just trying to close off a few bits and all good.
Amazing. It's been a very busy summer for us as a business, and especially the leasing team. We've had a couple of record-breaking months, and last month was especially so. There's been a lot of transactions happening. How's it been for you personally?
Very good, yeah. Leasing seemed to be flying. I think the last 4 months in a row hit over our target.
Yeah.
By a landslide as well, which is great to see. Everyone doing really good numbers. For me personally, really, really good few months. Enjoying every bit of it. Obviously the summer, it's a little bit more challenging. With the heat and everything, but no, the business is continuing to stay strong, which is good to see. We were a little bit worried, obviously, with the summer. People leave Dubai, go on their holidays, business might naturally quieten.
Yeah.
But although there are less people around, the numbers speak for themselves, really. Everyone's doing well, business is happening, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. So all good.
Amazing. So tell me a little bit about the heat. There's probably a lot of people at home listening to this who have never been to Dubai in the summer. You and I know that definitely it can get to 50, maybe even 60 degrees in some of these villa communities, especially if the electricity and the water's not running. How do you cope with that as a broker?
Yeah, I think it was in July of last year, and I got off the plane, and I just remember feeling nearly someone putting a hairdryer on me of the hot air, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to manage with this. I'm going to struggle. But you know what? It actually gets okay with time. Like it's obvious, you're never going to feel 100% comfortable because you'll be sweating and everything, but you get used to it, and you have to deal with it. You have to do a few things, in a viewing, the AC mightn't be on in the house, keep your car running, have the AC when you get back in so it's nice and cool. If you're out on a long viewing tour, you might pack a spare shirt. Just throw that on after when you're going back into the office. And then, you just kind of get on with it. You just have to.
It is demanding, it's challenging. And again, I think unless you've actually done it and experienced it, it's quite a unique heat and humidity.
You can't describe it.
Yeah,
when you go home and just tell people about the heat, you just cannot describe the feeling.
It's funny, actually. I always remember coming over here the first year, and I went to the corner shop to get a Mars bar, and I walked back to the office. And when I got back to the office, it was like it was just liquid, I was like, what the hell's this? But it is crazy. So tell us a little bit about how you've been getting on the last year. It's coming up to a year, right? In September.
Year in September in house.
Yeah,
probably nice. In a way the quickest year, but it feels longer than a year. I don't know how to kind of put my finger on it, but it's been amazing. It's probably been the best year of my life. Just going to a new country, meeting new people, finding a job that I really fell in love with, and it's just I haven't really looked back. So the job itself, great people, great company, great culture around the place. Very easy to fit in quite quickly. And then I was fortunate enough from the start to kind of get a good few deals. Learn my trade then, kind of, excel at it then in a way, and I feel a lot more comfortable now in the role. Yeah,
and you've had a particularly impressive last 4 months. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so good. After Christmas, it's kind of clicked into gear properly for me. The numbers were, going up and up, which is really good to see. The last 4 months now have consecutively hit over 100k in each of those months on the board, which is something that I never thought I could hit, but I think when you get over a threshold and over a certain figure, it just kind of sets the benchmark for the next month. And you just need to keep believing in yourself and digging deep. And if you can do it 1 month, what's stopping you getting even higher the next month? So it's kind of like a month by month kind of thing in real estate. Obviously, it's very commission focused, so you just have to be so driven. Once the month is done, 0 again on the board, you go again, you can't take the foot off the gas. And when you do take the foot off the gas, you see it, the numbers drop very quickly. So you just can't allow yourself to do that.
And I mean, that's crazy numbers really on the leasing side. It's really good, especially coming from pretty much a fresh start, no industry experience and fresh to Dubai. Like, how do you actually, how many transactions are you doing to get to those kind of numbers each month, and how are you doing it?
Yeah, so I work in a villa community, so the villas are quite large, so the commission will be naturally higher. I think on average I would do between 8 to 10 deals per month.
Yeah.
Some of them obviously could be an apartment, some of them could be a really luxurious villa. It just depends. You kind of have to have that balance. I feel for me, one of the key attributes that's helping me get those numbers is I don't shy away from the smaller deals, because they're so important to keep you tipping over.
100%.
And then obviously keep an eye on the big deals also. So you have that nice balance, because the big deals, they don't come that often. They're really competitive, really hard to close.
Yeah.
But if you have worked hard enough and put in the hours, and you can manage the smaller properties as well, it really helps.
Yeah, nice. So take us back to when you first came over.
Okay.
How was the training and all that kind of intro to the company?
Yeah, so I started, I'm coming up to my year anniversary in haus. The very first day, it was your monthly meeting, which you do the start of every first Monday of every month, right?
Yeah.
So I remember coming in, nearly feeling so overwhelmed. Just at the start, I didn't know anybody. I came in, I see all these people, dressed to the nines, prim and proper, tailor-made suits, people wearing their Rolexes, and I was like, gosh, I'm quite intimidated here,
Yeah.
But that lasted 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We went into our training then. There was a team of 8 of us that started in September of last year. All 8 are still here, by the way, doing really well. And the training was second to none, really. So, it's a small group. So we took a full week of, 9 to 5, or 9 to 6, I should say, going through the basics step by step. So controlled, not rushed, plenty of role plays, plenty of practice. And then once we were comfortable, then the second week was kind of getting on the floor, shadowing from the more senior agents. And then you break into like one-on-one trainings, and that goes on for, the first year that you're here anyway.
Yeah.
So you're there's a lot of hand-holding at the start, which you provide, which I think a lot of companies wouldn't. And I think that's massive. It's really important to get that at the start, because like me, a lot of people are new to the industry in Dubai. They don't have a clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
So to throw someone in the deep end, they're more than likely going to sink if they don't have the right training.
Yeah.
So you did that very well. And after week 2, I kind of felt like I was always here in a way.
Yeah. Do you think you could have? It's interesting actually. I did a couple of interviews yesterday, and both ladies came from a competitor. I'm not going to name the competitor, but they were just saying that there wasn't too much support, wasn't too much training, and they actually haven't done a deal, each of them, in the last 7-8 months on the sales side. Not leasing, it was on the sales side. You're doing exceptional numbers, I would say, for the market, not just for the company. But without the training, do you think you still could have got into it, would have got into it as quickly? Like, how would that have worked?
No chance. And I think, one, the brand name is really important, but then the training that you give us is just so important for us.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going in and you're just given a laptop, you're given a bit of data, and you have to kind of figure it out yourself, you're just not going to have the good habits from the start.
Yeah.
And if you don't have good habits, you'll have bad habits, and then it's very hard to kick a bad habit.
Yeah.
You'll get found out very, very easily in this market.
Yeah.
Landlords, they're not just people who own one property. People own, multiple. They have a massive portfolio.
Yeah.
And they're getting agents ringing them every single day. You need to know your stuff. You need to know the legalities in Dubai. You need to know about the properties, about the area. And, that's what the training is so important for. So if someone's coming in with no training, the chances of survival or doing good numbers, especially for the first year, 2 years, is slim to none, I'd say.
Yeah. Have you got any bad habits?
I think so, yeah.
What are they?
A few are, yeah.
Professionally, like in the job, what bad habits have you got?
I'd kick them at the start. I think what I found most important in this job is to be responsive.
Yeah.
And it's very easy as a broker to see a text coming on WhatsApp from a landlord, from a tenant, and you have the opportunity to reply there and then. You might be busy, you might have to run into a viewing, or you could have to do a contract or whatever, but it's very easy, put it on the long finger and not respond for 5-6 hours. So at the start, kind of realize how fast-paced leasing is, and that if you're not on the ball, if you're not responding in real time, you're going to lose a listing. Some other agent's going to beat you to it. So I think at the start that was definitely a bad habit of mine. But I seem to nip it in the bud fairly lively.
Yeah, nice. What about your best habits? What things do you feel sets you apart from other brokers in the company or in the industry?
I think I'm very, very hardworking. That's a given in this job. You need that. I'll come in very early. I'll be one of the last to leave, and especially in the first 6-7 months, that was always the case. When I'm ringing a landlord, I make sure I'm prepared for the call. When I'm doing a viewing, I make sure that I qualify the applicant properly. And that way, then it becomes a lot easier. I think the best habit to have as a broker is probably being able to listen. Like, everyone can talk, and there's some great salesmen out there that they talk and everything. But it's so important in this job to listen to the landlord, what prices they need, what type of tenant they want. For a tenant, screening them, understanding what they need, is it size, is it location, where's their nearest school. Being able to understand that and not just going, okay, they inquire on a listing, right, let's go look at that and leave it. They inquire on a listing, give them a call, figure out exactly what they're looking for, understand their style, what makeup they want in the house, and then saying, okay, right, leave it with me for an hour. I'll show you this one, but I'll also like to show you this, this, and this. And then do a bit more of a tour. So that way it's more time effective on them as well. They're seeing a few properties at once. But it also helps you to build that relationship with them and to get that trust. And the trust is really important.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of brokers in this market, like, they get a lead for a property and they assume that the client knows the market, knows the area, has been to that unit before, and basically they're just cherry picking the right unit for them to live, or with the family, or whatever it is. The reality is 90% of the time these people are not taking that unit they're inquiring about. And I think if you're a really good broker, sometimes after the initial phone call, you're actually maybe not even taking them to that unit because it doesn't actually fit the requirements. And that's, I think, the difference between someone that's really good and someone who is listening. It's one of our values as listen and learn. I think that is the difference between someone that's going to make a lot of money like yourself and someone that's, basically just being pushed along by the client. And yes, they will do deals in a market like this because the market's on fire, it's really buoyant. And the reality is, some clients will have done the research and they will know the exact units that they actually want to go and look at and view and potentially take. But it's all the other conversations, it's all the other leads that you're getting that maybe the client isn't as experienced or as done as much research or lived in the community, that you have to really be a broker and do a good job. For sure,
especially for people new to the market, as you said. You have to really share your expertise with them, because you know a lot more than them, if they're especially straight out of a plane looking at different areas. As you get on in months and as you become more familiar with different communities as well, it's a lot easier to help people out. And I think in this job, you could be here a year, but you learn so quickly. Like, Dubai is not a massive place. There's a lot going on, but it's, once you know the different style, once you take the time to look at all the communities around you, it makes you a lot better at your job.
Yeah, definitely. Why are Irish people so hardworking?
Are we?
I think so.
Look at my friend group.
No, you don't think so?
I think, like everywhere, yes, there's a lot of hardworking people, and then obviously there's some that don't work as hard. I think maybe the foundations maybe comes back from education. A good education system within the country. Jobs in Ireland, you work for your money, you earn it. There's not as many cushy jobs as there would be in different countries. So I think that's always a big thing. And then I suppose the older generation of Ireland, they're more working class, hardy people. And I think that kind of trickles down into their kids, their grandkids. So I'd say that's probably a part of it, maybe.
I think it's definitely true.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you notice that in the company?
Definitely. Yeah. Some of our best performers are Irish, right? But I associate Irish people with like grafters, got that grit, you know.
Okay.
I always remember actually, so my mum and dad live in a place called Cheshire, and I always remember there was a guy who lived in this huge house, and my dad knew him, had a really flash old school Rolls Royce parked outside, and he was an Irish guy, and he started digging roads. Okay. That's how he started. And he used to do every shift under the sun. Like, people used to laugh at him. He used to do all the overtime. Then he started to get like a little gang of guys together who started fixing these roads. Then he got into like doing bigger jobs. Then he started getting national, and he just made loads of money basically just from using his hands and a bit of hard work. And I think that kind of story is quite common from people from Ireland. So I think there must be something in the heritage or the water. I don't know what it is, but yeah, who knows? So going back to that, your father, I believe, is in estate agency or real estate.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
So my dad, he was always into real estate. He has his own properties, you know, very, very keen on it. And he has 2 offices in Tipperary, where I'm from, back home.
Nice.
So they've been open for 10, 15 years. And, you know, he does really well from it. But his passion for real estate and his passion for his job, his love for it, is something that always I admired. And although I don't have a real estate background, I was always watching him from afar and, you know, kind of doing the odd work, you know, the odd job from him if someone was sick.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, but it was always something that I was really keen on doing, and I definitely got that from him, I think.
Yeah. So what's the market like there compared to here?
Good, so different. In Dubai, it's very, you go out there, you make your own business, you're you know, constantly calling people, and you're relying on that kind of side. In Ireland, it's more so name marketing, traditional marketing.
Yeah.
And then people come to you, you know. So it's, although the concept is the same, but it's just so different on how the business is created.
Yeah, nice. So how did your dad feel when you told him you were jetting off halfway around the world to go into a commission-only role? What was the first thing he said to you?
Yeah, nearly gave him a heart attack, I think. But to be honest, you know, he just always wants what's best for me and my mom. You know, they just want to see me happy. You know, they want to see me safe, secure, and obviously when I'm going halfway across the world to a commission-only role and leaving a very good job at home, you know, I think they're a little bit taken aback by it, which I get completely, you know, and they were worried about it for sure. But at the same time, they were my biggest, you know, supporters, and, you know, they back me, and they always will. So it was just good, you know, having them and being able to talk about it. And even in the job now, you know, I have so much to talk about with my dad, you know, about the whole job. He can give me advice. Yeah. You know, I call him on a Friday when I'm driving back from work, you know, ranting about things that I'm angry about. So he's a good sounding board as well, you know. But no, I think he knows it was the right step for me. And I think, you know, whatever the future holds with real estate, I think it was always a positive one for me.
Yeah. Do you think, what was the last thing that your dad gave you in terms of a tip or trick that was relatable to this market?
And I talked to him a lot in the lead up of going over, and I still do, right? And he's a really, really intelligent guy, like really smart, good with people, you know, great skills. And before I was coming over, I was like, oh, you know, I've heard, like, I had a friend in the company, I kind of knew how real estate worked over here. Yeah. I was like, oh, there's a board, everyone knows what you're making, etc. And he's like, look, John, don't worry about the money. What you need to do, measure your success on the relationships that you build rather than the money that you build.
Yeah, nice.
So I've done that since the start, and it really helped me. So I wasn't too worried about the figures, even though I was lucky to get a good start. But building those relationships, and still from the start, since I came over, keeping in contact with people, get referrals from, you know, my tenants, my landlords, because I keep that relationship. Yeah. And that was definitely the best bit of advice I have gotten. And I kind of go by every day, you know, so that helped a lot.
Yeah, nice. And what does he think about, like, some of the successes that you've had over here?
Yeah, he's delighted. He's delighted. Like, see, I'd ring Dad on a Friday and he'd know what listings I have because they go up on the website. Oh, yeah. So even he'd be like, yeah, you have 18 listings. Oh, you know, if you rent all these, you get this amount. And like, oh, I didn't even know that, you know. So he'd be constantly looking just see how I'm going. And then he's just always there for me. So that's great.
Does he think he could do it out here?
My dad?
Yeah.
Could he do it?
Yeah.
He wouldn't last 5 minutes in the heat.
Really?
No.
Fair enough. And
he struggles in the Irish summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you came from a completely different industry.
Yes.
So tell me a bit about that.
So I did a degree in marketing. And I graduated in 2019.
Okay.
I went into a multinational, one of the tech companies, and I did basically a role in HR and recruitment.
Okay.
So mainly started in the kind of recruitment side, and then I started to lead more into the project side of developing a unique and diverse hiring program within the company. Mm-hmm. So as a business owner yourself, like diversity within a company is so important, like diversity of thought. To get true success in a company, I think you need to have people from all walks of life. I think, different backgrounds, religion, race, gender, age. I think that's also important, because if you're hiring people with the same kind of background, same degree, etc., you're not going to get any innovation.
Yeah.
And innovation is what makes a company grow. So in this job, I had a lot of it to try and, get that diverse workforce. Big part of it was around neurodiversity. So people with, say dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADD, autism, because maybe they mightn't be as strong in reading, but they might be more creative. And to have different people within your company is just so important. It just makes the company grow. So very cool job. I learned an awful lot about it, about people as well,
Was that a big thing in Ireland, or was it specific to that company? Because it sounds quite rare to me.
In fairness, the last company I was in, they're amazing. Really, really good company to work for. But a lot of the multinationals now are catching on to that. Definitely in Ireland anyway, but these are a global company. And it's important to them as a global company to have that all across the board. So I think maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, that wouldn't be the thinking or the way forward. But I think, a lot of the Amazons, Dells, Googles, they're catching on to that. And you're seeing a broader workforce.
Yeah, nice. Is there anything we can improve in this company?
To be honest, it's very diverse as it is. I think you do it right as a real estate company. You hire different people, different backgrounds. It could be an engineer, it could be a recruiter, it could be a person cleaning windows. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because what you don't need is a qualification for this job. What you do need is certain skills. People likable, hardworking. And people have that from no matter where they're from or no matter what experience they do have.
Yeah.
So you're good enough. Like obviously you have a very intense recruitment program. A couple of interviews. Do videos, etc. But there's no one size fits all. There's no right formula.
Yeah.
And you do that well. And I think you hire at a good pace. You don't overhire where you see a lot of companies do.
Yeah.
And then the training isn't there. There's a lot of people coming, going very quickly.
Yeah.
So you kind of build nicely as well.
Nice. What's the most important lesson you've learned in the last 10, 11 months here?
Important lesson, I think, would be just stay switched on. And also, I think, just don't let the lows or the highs get to your head too much.
Yeah.
I think at the start, there's obviously in leasing and in sales, you'll have deals where you're just about to get your commission, the contracts are just about to be signed.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, in a click of a finger, someone pulls out or something happens. And at the start, that is just heartbreaking. And you see it happen to a lot of people where they just don't cope with that quite well.
Yeah.
And they let it get to their head, and then they'll have bad weeks, bad months because of that.
Yeah.
But I think it's just more important. And if I was saying it to someone starting, it's just to take every day as it is. If something bad happens or if a deal falls through or whatever, dust yourself down, go again. You're not going to make any money for feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
So just get on with it. It's a job we're in. So just
yeah, definitely. I think generally it hurts those people that aren't super active. So if you're doing 8 to 10 transactions a month, which is a really good number, right? I think most agents that work in this market in leasing would look at somebody doing those kind of numbers and go, that's a good agent, no matter what they're putting on the board. I think if you're doing a couple of transactions a month, and you're losing a couple of deals, it really hurts you, right? And that's the difference. If you've got a lot on the go, you don't mind if the odd deal drops away, because to be honest, you're so busy focusing on other stuff and getting other stuff closed, you don't really have time to think about it and get down.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that does get you down over here? Do you get homesick, anything like that?
Yeah, homesick, I think.
Really?
Because to be honest, I never had any intention to travel. I don't know if you know that, but
no.
So basically I came out with my partner. She always wanted to travel, always.
Yeah.
Whereas I like to travel, but I love coming home.
Yeah.
And I was kind of holding her back in a way, and I didn't want to, who am I to hold someone back from, chasing their dream or whatever. So we decided we'd go to Dubai for 1 year.
Okay.
And that was fine, because I didn't want to leave my family. I have 2 sisters, 4 nephews.
Yeah.
Mom and dad, we're all very close.
Yeah.
Good friend group as well. So it made it very, very difficult for me to leave. So in my head, I was like, okay, I'll do it for 1 year, but we're coming back. And now for me, like, although it's still very hard and I miss my family a lot, but it's okay. We're 1 flight away. It's 7 hours for me, which isn't too bad. We can get home a couple of times a year. My mum and dad are going to come out early next year, so that makes it a lot easier. But you still have low days where you just want to be at home with your family. But it's just all part of it, really.
Amazing. When was the last time you got really homesick?
Actually, when I was leaving, I went back to Ireland a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
And then when I was leaving, saying goodbye, like, usually I never let my emotions get the better of me, but I was just so upset.
Really?
Like, I was really, leaving my mum and dad in particular. I was just, because I'll see him in Christmas, which isn't too bad, but at the same time, it's just tough. The goodbye is always the hardest part.
Yeah.
And then when you're on the plane and you're relaxed and you're settled, and then you give them a call when you land and everything, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But I think the leaving part, I don't like saying goodbye.
And how are they?
Yeah, they're actually okay. Yeah, they're upset too, but I think for all of us, we know it's not too far.
Yeah.
And you can be home in 7 hours, so it's all good now.
Yeah, definitely. So just on that, you've been here for nearly a year. Can you actually ever see yourself going back to sunny Ireland?
I don't know. See, what I love about Dubai is actually the job more than anything.
Yeah.
Like I like the people and everything, but in Ireland on a sunny day I don't think you can beat it for me.
Really?
But I don't think I can ever go back into an office job or to a job that I had in the past.
Yeah.
And I think the real estate over here is it's so interesting, and I don't think it's something I can ever leave behind.
Yeah.
In a way, so like, never say never, but for now I don't have an intention of going home.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the case for a long, long time.
And you meet some super interesting people out here. So who's the most interesting character you've met on a viewing?
Apart from yourself.
I'm not interested.
On a viewing, I did a viewing on a Sanctuary Falls unit with Amir Khan, the boxer.
Really?
Yeah. So that was cool. I was kind of a bit starstruck.
Really?
I showed him the property anyway. He hated it, so it was fine. I was like, don't worry. And he's like, oh, look, I'll be flying back. I'll come back to Dubai at some stage. And I followed up, never heard back from him. So, but
I think he
good to meet him.
I think he ended up buying something through us in the end.
Did he?
Yeah, I think so. You a boxing fan?
I like boxing, yeah. I like
Nice.
boxing. Do you?
Yeah, I don't mind watching the good guys.
What sports are you into?
I like cycling.
Okay.
I like cycling. Ireland's good terrain for that, I think.
Yeah. They did well in the Olympics, right?
I've never done the Olympics, but I've raced quite a high level.
Nice.
Yeah, long time ago. Still try and keep fit a little bit, but it's getting
Good man.
it's a bit hot at the moment.
I was about to say it'd be hard cycling here.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
That's a good question, isn't it? One piece of advice to my younger self, I would probably say, don't take life too seriously. Don't put too much pressure on your shoulders.
Yeah.
I think there's something interesting that I heard is like people overestimate what they can do in 6 months and underestimate what they can do in 10 years.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think for me in particular, I always want the best now. Like, and you know, but when it doesn't happen, you have to kind of look back and see how much you did accomplish in, you know, not only a few months, but in a few years.
Yeah.
And if you have looked that way, work hard, but don't expect something to happen straight away, I think it makes it a lot easier when you know, look, I have a long-term goal, I'm going to work towards that. It's not going to happen instantly, there's going to be bumps on the road, but it's just a better way of looking at things. So I think if I was to go back and start off again my working career, I think I'd probably say that to myself.
Yeah. So in 10 years, where will you be?
Hopefully on a beach in the Maldives.
Not back in Ireland.
Not back in Ireland, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Can you see yourself? Can you see yourself here potentially?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think at the end of this year, I'd like to invest in Dubai real estate for sure. And like, my five-year goal, 5-year plan is still to be here. So after that, then reevaluate everything and go again. But I think personally, I can see myself being here long term. Yeah.
Cool. Where would you invest?
I listen to Stephen and Paul. I listen to their podcast a lot. Two very, very interesting guys. They're very big into Expo, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're always calling out, you know, more affordable areas around like Arjan.
Yeah.
Where it's, you know, it's quite central. It's near Shaquem.
Yeah.
You know, it's not too far from. It's going to be the new airport. You know, you fly over straight away. So it's in a good location. It's only 10 minutes from Dubai Hills, half the price.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of exciting developments going on there. So I think Arjan would be an interesting area.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Definitely. Thank you, John, for joining us on this episode of Unlocking Success. And thank you for being here with us and listening to John's journey. Another special guest is coming soon, so stay tuned for the next episode. To know more about Dubai real estate or career opportunities at Haus, click on the link to our website in the show notes. You can also follow us at Haus on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Until next time.